I'm not really a big fan of the Alex Jones types where they do so much hyperbole. If there's like a missile attack, let's say Iran should shoot a missile at Israel. Oh no, it's World War III. You preppers better start to get into your bomb shelters. All that. These guys, they make their whole career out of doing that. Is clickbait. It works. You get a big audience doing that way. And no one ever holds you accountable for your outlandish predictions. You just keep going forward and keep making them. And I guess the audience keeps buying them. And I'm not just picking on Alex Jones, but there's a lot of people. This is what they do. I try to be a little bit more measured. I try to. So when I say this, I'm not a guy that cries that the sky is falling all the time. But by the year 2035, it's over. It's over. I don't see any hope for this country. The system will collapse. And it's not based on politics or Marxism or John Locke or any Nietzsche or any political theory. It's just based on math. The whole financial system is crashing down unless we get the political will to change it. And we don't, and we won't. So it's just the way it is. I think we need to prepare accordingly. And I'm not saying that to be black-pilled, but I try to look at life like it is. See, we on the right, this is how we differ from the left. The left is about imaginary narratives that they create. Oh, if we just pretend a man and addresses a woman, then he will be a woman. Whereas us guys on the right, we're like, no, reality is reality, whether we believe in it or not. And magical thinking is not going to change it. All right? It's not. I'm sorry, it makes you feel good. It's good for a cope. It gives you a sense of control that you can control your destiny. Well, partially you can control your destiny through your actions, but just partially. There's a lot of random events and luck that happens. But people like to want to have this illusion of control. And if you have all the right positive thoughts, you can bring good things into existence. But it's just not true. And there's no way we can pretend things are going to be good within 10 years financially. And it bubbled up today. Trump is touting his big, beautiful bill, BBB. And Elon Musk on X, he said a post, I'm sorry, but I can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. And the Republicans, supposedly the party that cares about spending and being prudent, they control Congress. So it'd even be worse with Democrats. So it is. This bill that President Trump is pushing does not cut the budget. You understand that the spending budget is going to increase like it does every year, and the deficit is going to continue to increase. And I know this gets kind of glassy eye for people because, I've heard about the deficit forever and nothing ever happens. Well, that's true. Nothing ever happens until it does happen. And sometimes you can predict something will happen by doing some math. And I did some math equations with some help, with some tools. And it's about 2035, maybe 2040. It depends on economic growth, where we eventually won't be able to sustain the debt. And there's a few things I need to cover and that people may not understand. One of the things people say is, well, why don't we just repudiate the debt? We'll just say I'm sorry, if we owe you money, hell, because we just owe money to ourselves. It's like, no, we cover the shortfall in our deficit by issuing like treasury bills. And we rely on people like China or countries like China or Japan, or just private companies investing in treasury bills to cover this. And if we just say, we're not going to pay back, we screwed you. Well, the government will collapse overnight because the treasury bills would be useless. The stock market would go basically to nothing. The dollar would crash. There'd be no confidence in the United States. We wouldn't be able to fund the government because, again, mostly we fund the government through borrowing. And if we say, well, hey, I'm not going to loan money to the government because they're not going to pay me back. So what do you do? What do you do then? And you can say, you just print more money. Well, if you just print money, then you'll get hyperinflation like Weimar Germany or Zimbabwe did. That's not, you want to pay $200 for a gallon of gasoline? That'll be the result. So we're really stuck here. And I got some numbers here, and I won't go too deep in the numbers because I know it gets people bored. But we could hit, probably based on the current rate of growth, 1.5 trillion in debt by 2035. And that's just assuming the 5% growth in the debt that we're seeing every year. And the problem with that is just paying the interest would be over $1 trillion a year we have to pay in interest. And pretty soon we would not be able to service the debt, and things would start to break and interest rates would go up. And see, this is a really dangerous part, because if people start to wonder if the United States can pay back their debt, they're going to want a higher interest rate. And a higher interest rate just makes the interest payments worse. It starts a vicious cycle. And that's the cycle that the United States government is getting in right now. And I don't see anything that can really be done about it. Legitimately, in a democracy, there's not much you can do about it. And this isn't new. The ancient Greeks understood this too, because people vote, they want free stuff, but they don't want to pay taxes. So they vote politicians that are going to give them free stuff. Yeah. And it's just not welfare. It could be if you're in the defense industry, you want big fancy contracts. Or if you're like Ben Shapiro, you want money to go to your ethnic homeland. Or if you're some crack ghetto woman and wants to pump out babies, you want more aid for your food stamps, whatever, you want free stuff from the government. And politicians, they get in by offering you guys free stuff. And then also by tax cuts. And you could say that, well, okay, with tax cuts, we could grow the economy. And that's whole Trump's attitude. Well, we'll just grow the economy. But to grow the economy, to avoid this problem, we would have to grow at a minimum 6% a year. And we haven't seen that since the 1960s. That's just really crazy. And currently, we've been growing, in the 90s, we're growing about 3%, 3.5% a year for a decade. And since the year 2000, it's been about 2% average growth. So unless you see some magical growth happening, I don't see this. I don't see innovation in this country. I see the opposite, all the immigrants, lower IQs. And then another problem, we have all the boomers retiring, and they want to get their Social Security money and Medicare money that they put in, but the government over the years took that money and they spent it on other stuff. So that money's not really there. So they have to borrow to get that money. And that's going to create a bigger issue. So all these people going out of the workforce, they want what they think is theirs, and it is theirs. They put their money into it, but the government has no way of paying it unless they borrow, but the government's already broke. So this is going to be a problem. This is why you see a lot of people, oh, we got to get more immigrants so they can pay for the boomers. Well, you're not going to get some IQ 80 immigrant from Haiti going to improve the economy. It's just realistic. It's not going to happen. And people having fewer children. So we got a huge issue here. I don't really see the solution. And sometimes there's not a solution. So we're just, it's sort of like the Titanic. Once they hit the iceberg, the engineers, they probably on the back of an envelope could do some calculations in determining when the ship would finally sink. At first you couldn't really feel it. Then it went quicker, quicker, and quicker. But there's no way to really fix it, right? And there's no way to really fix this. Oh, theoretically, we could fix it by doing drastic cuts in the military, but that's not going to happen because the military, the defense contractors, they own so many congressmen. Israel, that's not going to happen. That foreign country controls half of Congress, and everyone's scared of being called anti-Semitic. And the neocons, Lindsey Graham just got back from Ukraine. You know how much he spent on hotel bills over there that you're paying for? $400,000 for his little vacation in Ukraine. And there's all that corruption, all the money to support all these wars around the world, like with against Russia. And then our best little friends in Israel want us to fight Iran. And then there's the whole China thing. How in the hell we're going to fight China? They hold a lot of our treasury bills. What if they dump them? That's going to spike interest rates and bring the collapse sooner. So 2035 is kind of a generous estimate. It could even happen sooner. So we got a serious problem that Elon Musk sees, and he's right. And again, Elon Musk even did a post on X. This isn't political. This is just math. It is just math. You may not like it, but it's reality. It's not Republican. It's not Democrats. Both sides don't have any interest in slowing this spending. They didn't even put the Doge cuts into the congressional bills. Elon Musk went in there. He found a lot of savings. Then some left-wing judge after left-wing judge blocked it. And so it went to Congress, and Congress hasn't done shit. So really, what's the point? The Republicans aren't going to do anything because they're all corrupt. The Democrats are no better. They're worse. So we're in this situation. It's going to crash in 2035, the financial system. And there's nothing that can really be done about it. We're not going to see a change in our behavior. So we need a plan for it. You need to get your everything in order. Well, based on that, I'm doing this personally. I'm getting my Social Security early because I don't know if it'll exist in 10, 15, or 20 years. It could be gone by then. We're going to go through a major upheaval. We're in the process, and it's just getting worse with all these stupid wars and how we're trying to antagonize Russia and China, where they're starting to develop their own system, maybe currency. That could be a disaster for us. So again, I'm not trying to be black-pilled, but I've looked at the math, and unless you think there's some political will where we're going to drastically cut the defense budget, I mean like by half, drastically cut Medicaid, I mean just kick them all off. Hell, we just try to stop illegal aliens from getting sex change surgery paid by you guys, and that's hate. We can't do that. That's transphobic. That's racist. We can't even cut that. So how are we going to make the cuts that need to happen? They're not. And this bill doesn't cut anything. It increases the spending. It's just crazy. And I don't think Trump really understands this. He's kind of, I like Trump. He's better than Kamala, don't get me wrong. But he's kind of a blowhard. He's kind of he makes all these proclamations, act tough, and then he always backs down. And I think people are starting to see that. So, the whole idea, yeah, we're going to come in, we're going to cut things, we're going to really be rough, and we're going to do a fundamental change. It's just business as usual. Just a bunch of pork, huge spending, adding more to the deficit. And, we're headed to disaster, and nothing, I don't know if anything can be done to really stop it at this point. The political will won't be there. Everyone will scream over any sort of spending cut. People want more and more and more. And I don't really see the solution at this point. So we just need to prepare. I mean, we got like about 10 years, maybe. It could even happen sooner. I kind of estimate from 2030 to 2040. We could get to 2040 if we have like maybe 4 or 5% growth, which we haven't seen since the 1960s, but okay. It's probably 2035 will be it. Talk to you guys later.